All right, welcome everyone to the S.M.S podcast. We are live episode 3 with a very special guest by Wicked Bacon on Discord. Elias is his name. Welcome everyone. Shadow, Hadley, how are you guys doing?
He did it. Did you look at a piece of paper to make sure you said it right?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I do it.
Well,
I'm doing good. How are you?
Ray?
Yes.
A little
I'm
tired.
tired.
Stayed up a little late playing DCS with the boys, you know, but
Oh
we're
my
here.
gosh.
We're going.
We are going.
Yeah, why didn't Elias play DCS? Elias, do you play DCS? Or is he muted?
Is he there?
You know, I was just
What?
talking to myself this whole time, but there we go. A little technical difficulties there. Yeah, I haven't played DCS in a good while, but now that I've got a more respectable PC, I might re-download it.
Let's do it, man.
That's
You know, it's-
gonna change real soon.
Oh
here.
yeah, oh yeah. I mean, yeah, you got to give me a Rio here because F14's my baby.
Oh, we
Okay.
got you.
There we
He's
go.
going old school then. Okay.
Always.
Nice.
Yeah, I was inverted.
You know the bird.
Exactly.
All right, so...
We're gonna get a message from Paramount.
So, Mr. Wicked Bacon, why don't you go ahead and kind of, tell us about yourself a little bit and kind of what you do?
So yeah, I kind of do a little bit of everything. I started off doing scenery. My first scenery ever actually was the free work at San Antonio in X-Plane in 2016, 2017, and it just kind of evolved from there. Yeah, I've been doing sim work for 4 years now.
Okay.
Wow.
Good. So you started with X-Plane then?
I did start with X-Plane, yeah.
What would be like, because you do Microsoft now as well, correct?
Well, okay, but I'll take that back. As a simmer, I started off on FS98. So, roundabouts 2016, I transferred over to X-Plane because we didn't see anything new in the horizon for MSFS or that franchise, and P3D was just getting stale. But yeah, X-Plane got my development started.
Nice. And like, what type of how did you make your first scenery? Well, did you go out there and take pictures, or?
Yeah, well, about 2 years of pestering the airport, we got them on board with us, and they gave us everything we wanted.
Did you get put on a special list since you were specifically asking for access to the airport to get the whole layout and diagram?
I just got the airport. Well, they sent us everything. I mean, CAD files, the taxi layout diagram, front and back face labeling, up to date, everything. The ops manager's phone. Here's a great picture I love to show everybody about how serious I was, at least, about. I might not be able to pull it up just yet. Hold on a second.
CAD file. That's wow.
They basically sent you the whole blueprints to the airport.
They sent us
no
everything.
kidding.
Everything.
So any
here we
hidden tunnels?
No, I've been wanting to put an Easter egg in, and you'll see the one that I want to put in. But this is 2019. This is the airport ops manager measuring the taxi signs for me.
Oh, that's awesome.
that's how. I mean, we've got. This is all just 10 gigs worth of source files on airport
That is
photography.
awesome.
Everything we wanted.
So is that what you do now going forward? Is you just ask the airport, or how do you do it now with today's airports?
Well, with today's, it's. I haven't really started another airport per se, besides San Antonio.
San Antonio's the newest one you released there, partnered with Any Builds.
Correct. Yeah, this was a 5-year-long venture, really. In that time, I used to work as the texture artist for Any Builds, so the A300, the A310, the Beluga. That's all my texturing exterior-wise.
Nice. What type of software is that?
That's Blender, 3ds Max, and Substance Painter. I try to stay away from Photoshop as much as I can, but You got to use it every now and then.
Nice. Okay.
Not bad. I didn't know you did all that plane texturing too.
I do everything. Yeah, I'm actually a texture artist for SimWorks Studios. So the Kodiak, that I did the interior for the Kodiak.
God, man. Like I even did that interview, man. I even know his blood type.
Oh yeah, Alex. Yeah, he's a good guy. He's a good guy.
Oh, okay.
But so texture and Blender.
What's
So is it hard to get into it?
For me, it really wasn't. You know, I had the luxury of, I guess, working my butt off when I was early teen and early 20s. I was in the oil field, and 4 years later, I decided I just don't want to do this anymore. Well, I didn't decide. The economy decided for me, so had good amount of money left over, and I was just jiggling what I wanted to do. So for 4 straight years, I self-taught. All of San Antonio that you see, I mean, that the majority of it is all my models. That the terminal is probably my 3rd model that I've ever done in my life. I learned off of that.
Wow,
that's impressive.
That is pretty impressive.
Getting closer to flying to
it. Which simulator would you say is easier to make scenery for? Is there one that's easier? Is it the same?
It's okay. It's hit or miss. X-Plane is probably San Antonio is probably about 80% done in X-Plane. Has been since 2019. It is very simple to make scenery for X-Plane. Simple in the fact of like placing stuff and this and that, But I love doing it in Microsoft because it's live in Sim. It's very intuitive, but again, you have the downfall of all these updates. Everyone breaks something or other. It's hit or miss.
What? No.
It's too much to believe, isn't it?
Microsoft breaking after an update? No.
I'm telling you, it's like the apocalypse. But yeah.
Would you say that airplanes or scenery are easier, since you've now said you've done both?
Oh gosh, airplanes are they're significantly easier to me.
Now, do you have to have a degree in thermodynamics and aerofluid dynamics and all that, like some maker says that you need to have in order to be on their team?
Oh yeah. Sure, I made mine in Photoshop.
There you go. See, perfect.
I could send you that right over. Pull up that file and send it over to you.
There you go. No, it's just it's a hobby that turned into much more. And San Antonio was clearly I live in San Antonio, my hometown airport, and nobody had done it justice up to the point where I started developing it, and nobody's done justice for it ever since.
How fast do you think you can put a scenery together? Like, if it's not like all bells and whistles, it's just something that just needs to be slightly updated with a couple terminal buildings there, say because there's an event coming on and there's no other scenery for it.
Airport the size of San Antonio, with upholding the quality, all the assets that I've pretty much built up since then. I've got AC units for the tops of roofs that I just slap on, and they've already got materials and whatnot in my scenes in Blender. We're not talking about 5 years. We're talking about maybe 5 months.
Okay.
Wow.
Quite.
When's World Flight?
And that's just me myself, of course.
2 months.
2 months. Yeah, no, it can't happen then.
Yeah, 2 months away.
What are you talking about? What are you hinting at here?
No, it's because we're doing that World Flight, and there's some airports that there's really outdated sceneries, but they're very north, like Keflavik or Yander. And I was like, I wonder how far, or Cayman Islands, where I wonder how fast we could put a scenery quickly together, just so, make the runway actually be real, see an actual taxi, a terminal here and there, and then, that's it. Nothing special or fancy, just for World Flight.
Okay.
But 5 months. Yeah, we got 2 months.
Yeah, less.
No. I'm talking about full size in there. San Antonio is nothing special, really. It isn't. I love my airport, but it's nothing special. It's not huge, but man, when you talk about they jam pack everything into one airport. It's covered from each end, just hangars, maintenance, and all sorts of stuff over here.
So how do you get your contract with, say the person you're currently, or the company you're currently partnered with, or everything? Like, is there an Indeed but for flight simmers for creating airports, or how does that work? Like, where do they post?
Well, this one was actually I'd been the only developer to ever touch it for, up until the point where I got hired on with AnyBuilds, and then I decided that, hey, you know what? I'm never going to finish it if I don't get someone, to kind of back me and push me and tell me enough's enough. So that's where that came from, because it probably wouldn't have come out if it wasn't for that. I'm very OCD about what I do, and if I see something wrong, I'll redo it. Terminal's been redone 7 times. Fun fact. So,
Wow.
But yeah, no, this is completely my product. Of course, vendor under any builds.
Okay. One of the things you brought up a little bit earlier, I kind of want to touch on. You said when you're doing Microsoft scenery, you said it's live in the game as you're developing it?
Correct. Not modeling. You'll go model your building and then export it, texture it, whatever you want to do. As a matter of fact, I'll export tests before I even texture them, just to make sure that I have the proper, sizing in Sim. And if it's slightly off, you can actually scale in Sim too. You can scale your models and all that good stuff. I mean, it's just the first I've seen of any of its kind of development for flight sim. And I'll showcase it here as soon as I get up to San Antonio. But yeah, it's all, go to the dev cam, open up your project, and top-down view, whatever you want to do, and you can start placing. You can start terraforming the terrain, which isn't fun. I'll just put it that way. But I'm currently in the process of decimating all of the photogrammetry, because it has been causing a massive issue. If you can see over there, there's a white building that's North Star Mall. The entire area is the next project, which probably about a week, maybe another 2 weeks to finish all of this. Get rid of the photogrammetry and get people's performance back up.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Definitely going to make San Antonio look a lot better than what it does on the surrounding areas. I mean, the airport in general looks really good. I've already flown into it numerous times now since you released your scenery.
Right. You haven't had many performance issues?
I haven't really had any performance issues now, other than the plane I was using just was bad. But
was it only released for Microsoft?
Currently, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. You said you had an older version for X-Plane currently out there, correct?
Yeah, I do. I think I wonder if I can still get onto X-Plane. My PC. You won't believe me when I show you my FPS numbers from San Antonio too, and you've seen other people's performance and whatnot. It was baffling when I first had to start dealing with everyone's performance issues. But my PC just died finally after 4 years.
My condolences.
I'm not sad about it. The entirety of the development for San Antonio was done on. I'd say 80% of it was on a 1080 Ti hybrid, and the rest was a 2080 Ti. But the CPU and motherboard was a Z270E and a 7700K, 2017 tech, 60 frames.
One of the best CPUs that were out on that time.
It was, but definitely
really
started showing its age. Showing its age.
Oh yeah, Botox can only do so much.
It is what it is. But luckily, when it crashed, I didn't lose any of my 5 years of source files and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
It might have been a little bit disheartening, but yeah.
I'm sure you have backup files on backup files for all your files.
You'd think I would, but I do now.
It only takes once to learn proper data backup.
Taken me a few times, but I finally learned.
That's true.
Well, that's pretty cool if it's coming out for X-Plane. Some of us, Mike, hasn't moved over to Microsoft, so
That's true. You guys just yet to still make the full jump to Microsoft. I know. Got those battles between X-Plane and Microsoft always.
One day you'll make the jump, Mike. I know you will. What's up, Sheer?
I was just gonna say I do. Before Mike throws shade at me for not playing Microsoft, if I'm flying by myself, that's what I'm flying. I'm mainly doing X-Plane because the program that we're in.
You are allowed to talk about it, I believe.
Yeah,
It's public if they join the Discord.
Yes, yeah, you can talk about it. Shared Flight is a plugin.
Okay.
That he's talking about, which is the new shared cockpit coming out for X-Plane.
With JSnap, huh?
I believe so. Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, really good program coming out for X-Plane. Probably one of the things that's going to keep X-Plane relevant and alive.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Justin's awesome.
I mean, it's definitely a million times better than what they have currently out in the market.
This is very true.
I just found out
a very long time.
It's been in the making, but like it's incredible because we're using it right now to train some of our pilots for world flight. You know, because
very nice.
Some of them are outside, but yeah, it's nuts how good it is.
Oh yeah.
I really wish I could help out in some way or another, but you know.
Right. I don't know if you've ever tried your controls on MSFS. I don't. It's not going to be anywhere near.
So I tried it, but it made my game stutter. Like really bad performance. I don't know. I heard it might just be the PMDG that it conflicts with.
Yes.
But I wasn't even using it, and it would just cause frame hits.
Shadow and I used it on the Salty 7.4 and then just the fly-by-wire. On it actually worked pretty well for us, and I didn't get any performance hits with it. PMDG, I don't know if PMDG was even out when we did it.
It was, but PMDG is hard. Like not even
good luck getting any shared system to work with that.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I wasn't even like using it to control the PMDG. It was just in my community folder, and it would like bring my frames down to like 10, and then I took it out, and all the stuttering went away. So I thought it was the scenery at first. I had just gotten some basic scenery for Salt Lake, and that's when it started doing it. And but then someone was like, "Hey, new controls did this to me too," so I took it out, and then sure enough, it went back to normal.
I haven't had any. I need to go re-download the PMDGs now, but haven't had any issues with them with your controls. Every week Alex and I try to do a shared flight with the Kodiak or with something that not particularly the Kodiak, with something that doesn't have a GPS because we like old school flying, you know. Get lost and it's a good time, but it's always been fantastic.
I need my FMC. I'm screwed without it. This is coming from someone who has 100 hours flying in like a Cessna.
So us commercial pilots are lost without our GPS and FMC for sure. So,
do you plan on releasing an updated version of San Antonio?
I used to be I was going to be a commercial pilot, fun fact, but COVID and some other events, you know, made me change my mind. So here I am.
Yep. So what was that question you were asking, Channel?
Oh, it was from Short Final saying, do you plan on releasing an updated version of San Antonio for X-Plane 12?
That's a good question. Do you have any plans for X-Plane 12 when it comes to scenery?
Or is he muted again?
I think he might have froze.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, there he goes. He might be muted again.
Hello?
I think
there
he is.
No, I think internet spiked there. Yes, I do plan on actually, as a matter of fact, the one thing that I had to do for X-Plane version was do all the surrounding area, because I just chalked it up to photogrammetry was going to be enough. It looks great, but it's performance, well, I say looks great in the grand scheme of things for surrounding area, sufficient. But don't have that in X-Plane, so this is going to expedite the X-Plane version as well.
Okay.
Nice. Now, do you as a developer have like a special access to 12, or are you not allowed to talk about it?
Oh no, I've been in the alpha for 12 for probably 7 months now.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Would you say it was like difficult to update the scenery for 12, or is it pretty universal between 11 and 12?
I've only given it one go. I mean, it loaded in, but it's a massive cluster of a package because I haven't touched it in 2 years either. But cannot get the new trees to populate in San Antonio. I just haven't put that much time into it because of how many updates I've had to push forward on MSFS.
Gotcha.
But it will be, taken care of.
Cool.
Nice. Okay. Now, do you also have any sometimes like beta testers to beta test the airport, or is that something like you just do yourself?
That's
not like a plane.
Yeah, I've got my own, and then Any Builds, of course, has their beta test team, which, this has been up until release. I mean, it'd been tested for 3 months by all sorts of parties, and without going into too much detail, Perfect Storm hit when we released SU10. All the streamers, they're on the preview builds, and that day that we released, they published a massively degenerate update to the preview build, which somewhat carried over into the SDK. There's a massive data leak, and I'll put it this way: they added the vegetation debugger, which if you go up here and you debug vegetation, you will see it displays in red. Well, when they added that new feature, which was that day, you saw trees only if you came up and did kind of like all the debugging stuff, and you'd see big city-sized collision trees. Now, collision objects take a lot of CPU memory, but they were just scattering everywhere, and all sorts of lights and all sorts of stuff going on that nobody could visualize, and people getting destroyed by frames, not just here, everywhere. I witnessed a video on YouTube of a follow along with a streamer that was streaming the release of San Antonio, and one of his followers were coming in to land at San Antonio in the PMDG, and he did not own our San Antonio as default scenery, and he's just stuttering all the way down to 13 right. I just couldn't explain it.
Oh wow!
It slowly got better the more that Asobo updated, but yeah.
I mean, Microsoft's come a long way since the beginning when it comes to updates and
absolutely
and fixing things. Definitely from 2 years ago to now is definitely a lot better.
It's what it should have been to begin with, but hey, I'll take what we can get at this point.
Yeah, very true. Other than San Antonio, do you have any other scenery that you may start working on or want to start working on?
Los Angeles. Phoenix.
There's a few. I haven't really decided what the next airport's gonna be, but I am doing a landmarks package. So where I just took off from, that's downtown San Antonio. I'm modeling out, getting rid of all that photogrammetry, modeling out the entirety of San Antonio downtown with one now defunct helipad, which is really cool. It's on top of a parking garage where I started. I'll fly back there in a little bit. And I believe 1 or 2 hospital helipads that are over there. Just something for the helicopter simmer and me and everybody else, and just kind of light up the backdrop. I really like downtown San Antonio. It's got a pretty skyline, and more photogrammetry gone, the better.
Yeah, well, some of the Day 10 helicopters are supposed to be pretty big now, correct? Isn't that?
It looks like it. Well, I don't think Sim Update 10. It's going to be what are they calling it? The 40th anniversary.
Yeah, the 40th anniversary is when all the helos and
that's November, right?
I
Yeah,
believe so. Yes.
I think that's actually when they're going to drop season 10 and that concurrently. I think.
Do you think so?
It's no longer this month.
I don't think so.
They always love to do it at the right time.
Yeah.
Are you taking any grasshoppers or Padawans under your wings that want to learn how to do this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I've got a couple.
Is there like a Friday night, you know how they do wine and painting? Is there something like that?
No, it's pretty much just we get in a Discord chat for whatever we can, and just go at it. That's it. Lately, I've been mostly, doing aircraft development because we're trying to finish off with SimWorks the Dash 7. So I just finished off doing all the rivet and panel line decals, all modeled out and all that good stuff.
Gotta love when a plane has 3,000 rivets.
I love it. I love it.
So no, I think I can speak for most. The attention to detail that you do as a scenery developer or an airplane developer. I mean, like the pictures you showed, measuring the signs to make sure the signs are the accurate size. I mean, I think the little details really matter, at least to me, anyways.
They do to me as well. Some things that people just will never see or never care about, and whether they care about it or not, I do. And if it's not hindering and adding to the experience, hey, more power to it.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep adding until I can't add anymore.
Absolutely.
Yes, I know you told me there's like some special things you're planning for San Antonio Airport itself. But is there any of that you wanted to kind of mention, or?
Well, that's what these are getting ready for. You can see these here. I'm just learning how to do these, codes that MSFS utilizes, reverse Polish Notion stuff. But these are some objects here. They're going to be driving around. I already have one of my variants of fire trucks driving around. I just haven't done the lighting like this. But I have.
Yeah, that's great.
Done.
Because Mav, every time you land, wait, did he cut out or is he still talking?
I'm still here.
Yeah, he's still here.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say that's great because Mav, when you land, you need fire trucks.
There we go.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Savage.
That's awesome. Look at that.
I don't think I've seen anything like that. Aside, I mean, obviously, you have the stock ground vehicles that Microsoft decides it wants to drive through your plane all the time.
Right. Yeah.
But something like this, I don't think I've ever seen that on any scenery or anything.
Well, you'll see it on Brussels. Airsoft Brussels is a very, very good example of technology that MSFS is built around and possible that's not documented. That was the hardest part about this. I spent months and months and months piecing this together. It's not all documented yet either, but this last, they have a separate flighting, quote-unquote, SDK that they call it, for the upcoming Sim Update 10. I am on the Sim Update 10 preview build, of course, but they've definitely documented a lot more that's making my life easier, but this is all scripted. This object, picture it this way, let's say that hangar right there, right? Or that, that belt loader, that pushback, that's a custom pushback for San Antonio. It only spawns in San Antonio as well. Those are sim objects. I don't drop them down as like a regular scenery. I actually, open up Notepad and create what's called a world script. With world scripts, you can call... does anybody have Brussels over here?
I think I do, yes.
Okay.
I got it recently.
Yeah, no. I don't have even Microsoft.
If you get a chance, go, whenever you get a chance, go load it up and just go look at how many people are walking through those terminals, both terminals. It's astounding. When I say 300-400, it might be a low estimate. But it's possible because they utilized it the right way. They utilized world scripts. So all those characters, their animations are all tied together. They use one animation rig. They're dummies tied to one rig, and it's only calling one set of animations for male and female. And that's how you can get away with having that many people just live walking around the airport. That's the same concept with this. Unfortunately, I don't have any police officer characters, but I tie a Nasobo character into the vehicle to drive it.
And didn't you say like some of the interior was like even modeled on some of your vehicles?
All of my vehicles, yeah.
The attention to detail, but does that affect FPS or no?
I'll tell you, it really doesn't. If it's done right.
Okay.
I mean, I'm sitting 60 pretty.
And the other good thing is, like, I'm pretty sure, the customer support with you guys is a lot better than some that we will not mention.
Well, I want to be on top of it. Here, fun fact. There's the other bus. Now, this is what you can do with World Script. You see these garage doors? Now, don't mind them being very quirky right now, working out the kinks. But this guy's going to pull in, and they're already open because I have the trigger area a little funky. I need to figure it out, iron it out completely. Once he pulls in, you'll laugh because the door's going to close on him and freak out for a second, but they are tied together. in one script. They'll open up, he'll pull in, he'll come back out. You see how they're closing now?
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
All script. Now, yeah, you'll laugh here. Here's the fun part. Doesn't open, but it wants to jump. Boom! There you go. Cuts them in half. But working it all out, that's the kind of stuff you can do. You know, I could put a trigger down if I wanted to put a trigger down and play a sound right here when he crosses that threshold. Or like, if you wanted to make a mission, hey, emergency landing in San Antonio. Well, I can script it to where, boom, hey, you need the fire trucks? They'll come and spray you down.
Yeah,
or you want a water cannon salute going to the gate. There you go. It's very, very powerful, just undocumented and new territory.
Okay, so many great new technologies then on the rise, you would say, then for Microsoft when it comes to senior editing.
It's been in here since the beginning. Just not, it's still not documented.
Okay, so it's been in there, just no one's really taken advantage of it then until.
Exactly, it's been very difficult too.
I wonder if it's the same thing that FSDT uses for their stuff.
Well, it is backpacked through that, yes.
See.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, like you were saying, from a customer standpoint, I mean, obviously your guys has been excellent. I mean, you've always made sure I've had the most updated airport whenever I've gone to stream it, and it's been kind of quite refreshing at the amount of involvement that you are, and compared to others that don't seem to care quite as much.
Absolutely. It's my, I don't want to say my life's work, but I've put my whole into it. You know what I mean? Which I do with every project that I do, but this one especially is just very close to me, so it will be maintained. I can promise you that.
Yeah, because I think from my point of view, one of the things that kind of there is quite a good group of developers for Microsoft, but I feel like there's also quite a big, large group of people that are just throwing stuff in and not really paying attention as much to, like I said, the detail that most people are looking for on the airport, and just kind of like almost like a money grab at one point or another with a lot of scenery.
Well, yeah, there's going to be that. It's especially with Microsoft Flight Sim. It has successfully definitely brought the flight sim category out of a niche, so to say, especially for developing. It's more viable to actually make a good living on now. Not saying that they're right, but you're always going to have it. I could never do that. But slowly the user base is realizing, you know what I mean? They're becoming more aware of what they're buying and, trying not to get burned all along the way.
Yeah. That's very true. That's what's come in handy for me anyways. Just always watch the streamers that have the ability to show it, so that way we know what we're getting into before we buy it. And
absolutely.
I have to ask one more question before I have to head out.
Sure.
So where would someone do to get started? How would it be? Because I'm not gonna lie, I'm interested in it because I've always wanted to do it. I know X-Plane and Prepare are dead, but that's the flight sims I use, and I don't touch Microsoft with a 10-foot pole. I did at first, but how could someone get into this? What do we have to do?
There's plenty of good resources out there. I started off with a YouTube video of how to model a hangar. I can't remember which one it was, but it was years ago now, and for P3D. But I never divulged into scenery development for P3D. I did do quite a bit of aircraft texturing for P3D though. But to get started, I mean, hey, depending on what you want to do, like what interests you the most. Let's say, for instance, do you do you want to model something or texture something?
I mean, it's honestly just, I guess, modeled something, because it's like, I don't know, some of the airports that I fly into a lot, and some of them are not updated. Some of them I'm just like, I mean, how hard would it be to actually honestly learn? I mean, I know it's hard, to have an updated version of Los Angeles. That the P3D's Los Angeles version has been outdated for God knows how long, and it's embarrassing when like ATC gives you clearance and you go to the end and it's like you still got 3 more taxiways to go, but yet it's still not updated and modeled because so and so hasn't updated it. Right. So it's like, well, how hard is it to just do something slapped together. I mean, I'll put time and dedication into it, but I know it's not something anyone can pick up out of nowhere and just do it.
But I did.
Yeah.
I spent months on the groundwork on X-Plane, and I got burned by a partner I had at the time. 8 months worth of work, and he didn't do anything model-wise. So I set San Antonio down for another year and looked at it again, pulled it from my drive, the latest backup I had, and started going at it and watched videos on how to model. And a short week and a half later, I had the terminal done.
Oh wow. Jeez. Okay.
Just all about just visualizing for me, for sure. But modeling isn't anything really special. It was very overwhelming to me at first. Just manipulating the viewport and whatnot. And I learned in Blender, so I use 3ds Max as well for specific things. I'm not the biggest fan of 3ds Max, but that's because I learned on Blender. It's 2 different methods. But it's all about how much dedication you want to put into it. And Blender is a very, very, very steep learning curve. It's very powerful. It's just not as, I guess, user-friendly for beginners or anyone as 3ds Max would be.
Okay.
But not everybody wants to pay the premium for 3ds Max as well,
There's that. Does Microsoft have anything in it to manipulate and build scenery? Does it all have to be like third-party programs? Obviously, third-party programs are probably better, but
nothing modeling wise. I mean, they do have the exporters that were made for 3ds Max, and now they're adapting. They're doing official exporters for Blender as well. So which we really appreciate because Blender has been like oversought. It's very powerful. It's free. X-Plane, adapted Blender early on. And now Microsoft is as well. It's refreshing. Everything that's been done up until this point on this platform, ESP platform, FSX, FS 2004, it's been Gmax, 3ds Max, stuff like that. So, yeah, that's probably why I never got into scenery development for P3D, which I really wanted to, but there wasn't any viable exporter at the time that I wanted to do it for Blender.
Okay. So Blender is free and more powerful, but harder to learn. And then the other one you said is obviously a subscription or payware, but easier for a beginner.
Yeah, that's probably how I word it at least.
Okay. So that'd be how I guess those programs would be top ones you need to have then if you want to get into scenery developing or even aircraft developing at that point.
I mean, a good starting point though is kind of learn to walk before you run, right? Go into the scenery editor, create your own project. Go check something out on YouTube. There's plenty of videos on how to start a project for MSFS, and just kind of get the flow through how it's done in Sim and play some of the default objects and stuff like that, and just kind of hype yourself up to what you can do, and then start doing custom stuff.
Okay.
Definitely amps you up, and the willingness to learn, and the more you retain while you're going through, new techniques and new territory with modeling, the better.
Okay, that's not bad. Then if you can go in and test it out, just go pick a default airport somewhere and see what you can do to it, basically.
I gotta reset all this up since
I may or may not be loading at my hometown airport now. As we speak.
Which one's the one you're closest to again?
It's Pocatello.
Pocatello. Yeah, I might have to even try it myself. I don't know if I really have the mind for scenery developing. But I've definitely thought about.
You do not have the time, first of all.
Well, I definitely don't have the time. So it's definitely something I've thought about doing just for like fun, not necessarily like seriously. As just like I said, I don't have the time with my full-time job plus streaming and everything else that I have going on to do it the way it deserves to be done. But definitely something I've thought about just kind of messing around with to even improve just little things for me on default stuff if they didn't have anything made for it.
Yeah, that's the whole thing about it. It's they've really made it friendly-ish, I guess you could say, for even community. I just wish we had a good platform like X-Plane does for their freeware. That's definitely needed, and carry that over on to Xbox, because that is a big part of Flight Sim now, the
Yep.
Xbox community. They need more. They definitely need more incentive. Give us a scenery gateway, freeware gateway, stuff like that, and I think it'd be really good.
Do you think Microsoft will get there eventually, or?
I think they're in the works of it. They definitely listen to the community.
Well, that's good to know. But at least someone's listening out there. The stuff
I forgot I don't have a camera. I said that with a cringe. But anyways, they're doing well.
As long as we're improving.
Do you have, so like San Antonio's your baby, basically your bread and butter is what you've been working on. Do you have like a short list of other airports that you've been interested in getting started with building scenery for?
Like Pocatello?
No, no one.
I have. There's a few airports. Mostly Texas area. Because Texas has been one of those states that's kind of it's been a little oversought.
A little neglected.
A little neglected, yeah. I mean,
there's some definitely good airports there that have not been made or touched yet.
Absolutely, and I'd like to get around to some of those at least.
Show me on this apron where we touched you.
But yeah, no, there's definitely a lot. I mean, even the default DFW handcrafted from Microsoft's really not even, like, at least performance-wise, not very good.
Right.
If you wanted to change the text on the fire truck like you have it right now, how quickly can you do it? Like Mav's personal fire truck.
Okay, so there's different methods. As a matter of fact, Jetways, I utilize that. Being that they're sim objects, right?
Yeah.
You can have what's called containers. So, P3D, the livery system, right? You got to go when you go install a livery for a plane in P3D. You got to go open up the CFG and add fltsim.xx, right?
Yes. Oh, love it.
Same concept. So that's what I. Of course, I rigged up my models to. Let's see. Hold on a second. I'm having a little bit of a. There we go. Let those fire trucks load in, and you'll see that each one of them on the side, they have a different number designation. I did exactly that for that.
Okay.
Don't think they want to load in now, but Sim Update 10 preview build has introduced, after I close a package, build it, whatever, open it, it doesn't want to get rid of anything that I have excluded in that package, so I'll have to restart the sim, but I will show you.
So it's basically like liveries for...
Exactly.
So meanwhile, you're... Oh, go ahead.
I was done. You can go ahead.
Oh. Well, meanwhile, it's downloading. Do you plan on making a... what is it, George Bush scenery? For the... What's it called, George Bush? The Houston. That's
Intercontinental. That's actually the top. That is... I live in San Antonio, but anytime I fly out, typically when I fly, my parents are Greek. They're from Greece. I spent every summer there when I was growing up. So anytime I go anywhere, it's always Greece. So flying from San Antonio, booking a ticket from San Antonio to Greece is like, we're talking $1,500. Booking it from Houston to Greece is like $600-700. So I drive my happy butt to Houston, park it at a friend's house, and they'll take me to the airport. I'm like, yeah, bet.
You can even take an Uber to Houston cheaper.
Even taking an Uber to Houston would be cheap. I'm not joking. Yeah, it's just because of that small difference of you have to make a connection flight. And San Antonio is one of those odd airports where it's got odd destinations, I guess you could say. Even just that one, it's crazy to think just that one flight from here to Houston, San Antonio, literally up and down, you're there, is an extra $800 on the ticket.
Yeah.
On my airport, but I don't love it enough to pay that price.
Yeah, I run into that same situation because I'll just like flying out of my town, it's a 4-hour drive to Salt Lake City, approximately. I seem to add time every time I say that. It's like
You
3
do.
hours.
Well, it was
More
1 hour at first.
realistically. No, I know I never said that because it's an hour to the other town I've flown out of before. But that short little hop, it's a 1-hour flight from my town to Salt Lake. And every time I try and budget it to see about going out to the sim in Southern California, it doubles the ticket price.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy how just little things like that can just astronomically increase your prices.
It's nuts.
Oh, are you there?
You got muted again.
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep, there you go.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I was just looking for my source files real quick. Move them. I just don't. There we go.
Oh.
Okay.
For example, too, I guess he was saying, editing the texture or like lettering and stuff in your vehicles. How since you did do that hanger thing for me, how quick was it to put my logo in that hanger that you had made for me?
Fairly
That
quick.
he won't shut up about.
fairly quick because I tied it. That's not really an object actually. It's a world script. It's dropped in the scenery as a world script. That door. So I tied your logo to the door. I've done another buddy's hanger as well, and it's just something kind of fun, kind of personalization kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
That I'd like to do. It's just hard to offer to everybody, of course.
Yeah. No, it was definitely good.
But there you go. There's the fire trucks there, and you can see I just have a little plane there that calls for one texture. If I wanted to do the rest of it, boom. But that's actually textured onto the texture itself, so you can see one of my texture maps there.
Yeah, this is gonna take more than a day to learn Hadley.
It may be 2 days. Maybe.
If you're lucky. Yes, no, definitely. That's definitely takes a lot of work and knowledge to do all this stuff. It's not overnight. For sure. It was hard enough for me just to learn how to make liveries for planes and X-Plane. It took me forever to learn that.
I still don't know how to do it because I feel it's like a pain in.
Oh, maybe I should load up one of my substance files for an aircraft then.
Yeah, I mean, I have not figured out how to do it for Microsoft. But X-Plane, I can repaint a plane. Not like full detail because I just don't have that kind of time to take, but I think it looked decent enough.
Yeah, and that's where I love Substance. I started doing liveries in Substance a while back, at least, plotting them out, because there's nothing better than just being able to paint on the full 3D model.
Mm-hmm. Someone's asking, you were talking about like doing water can stuff. Is it possible to put on sceneries to like call for emergencies if you had emergency, like say you wanted the fire trucks to meet you at the runway or something like that?
There are a bunch of variables that you can call on for stuff like that, but where I believe the holdback is going to be is the actual default APC system. So that's why I mentioned as a mission before, something kind of cool, something I include with the scenery or whatever. But you can script a mission basically however you want. You can add your voiceovers in there. You can add infinite possibilities.
Okay.
I am gonna head out. I am gonna be in contact with you if that's okay.
Absolutely.
And but thank you so much for your time. I unfortunately am
y'all.
moving. I know the rest are gonna stay, but I have to go. I will mute myself so I don't mess up Mav's beautiful thing he's got going on.
No worries. Oh, before you go, hold on. Here you go. Let me see if these screenshots are here, so you can see X-Plane version of San Antonio where it left off.
Oh yeah.
I just gotta find my. Okay, it goes in the output folder. There we go. Oh boy. Timestamps 2019.
Oh.
There's the A310 when I was working on it.
Okay, so you worked on the A310 that's coming out from Microsoft, or just like
no, I didn't work on that one.
That's been a question I keep seeing popping up in the chat many times. Is over and over. Is he working on the A310? Is he working on the A310?
No, I am not. But I can't divulge anything anyways.
Naturally.
But there it is after I finished it. But let's see here. San Antonio. Goodness, there it is, 2019. Very plain. I've come a long way since then, and now I've got to carry over everything I've done for MSFS and all the new models and all that good stuff for, backport it over to X-Plane. Want to have the same closest possible quality that I can. There's going to be a lot of things that I can't add. Well, maybe not so, because X-Plane 12 apparently has default ground handling now. So, yay for me.
I did see that in a recent video. It seemed like they had a fuel truck come out to the plane and some other stuff.
That looked amazing.
Oh, here we go. There you go. There's a good.
Is this 12 or 11?
That's 11. It's in 2019.
Wow. I need to get myself the scenery.
Oh, when I can.
All the shared flight we're doing, you guys need to update a lot of your X-Plane scenery for me.
No. Yeah.
Hard time finding all of my files. It's awful doing a reformat, man. I'm telling you, I was forced to though.
How many gigs would you say you have used up on your computer, or even maybe terabytes, depending?
Yes.
For this kind of stuff.
Before I deleted. Oh goodness. Let's see. I've got a screenshot of it somewhere. You might. It might hurt you. I was having to delete. Okay, I can save now. Delete. It was real bad. Before I did the reformat, I got rid of a lot of unnecessary stuff and opted to not use some drives. But yeah, my 3 terabyte was darn near full. It was 400 megs from being full. Just 600 gigs of it was San Antonio.
I'll catch you, Jensen, a bit.
And then, not to mention, another 200 gigs for MSFS repository on another drive. It's a lot. But you learned the hard way. You said earlier, right? I had backups after backups after backups. I made triplicates just because, things happen.
Yeah, that data backup can definitely, especially in something like the profession you do. I mean, I know for most people, it's just like, oh, just need to back up my pictures. But for something kind of like what you're doing, though, that's absolutely critical.
It took the drive has been going bad for a while. I had to get it off.
Get your money's worth out of that hard drive, that's for sure.
I got my money's worth out of the CPU, everything. I mean, 2017 chipset, and which is why I was so scratching my head, because everybody was having these performance issues with San Antonio, and I'm sitting here with a completely bottlenecked system, just getting perfect performance. It was weird, but optimization is optimization. It's good for everyone. And I've been literally doing nothing but that for the last month.
Yeah, that's such a strange thing, because I also had the i7 7700 before I was able to upgrade, and a 1070. And it wasn't even it was a TI, 1070 Ti. And ever since even the alpha build of Flight Sim that I was in, I've never had an issue with it. And then you've got others that have an i9 9900KS or a Ryzen 5950X, those top tier systems and like 3090s and 2080 Ti's, and it's crippled.
I know. I know.
So bizarre.
It is. And it's the best thing to remember is, even though it's so shiny, it's sparkly, it's the greatest, it's the latest and greatest shiny sim, right? No matter what, if it's running off this, even just a little bit, even off that old ESP system, never say that you don't have to tweak or do anything like that. There's plenty of tweaking you have to do. It's just, a lot of the times performance issues get solved if you go into the app data repository. You'll go into local cache and you clear some of this stuff out, and you'll be amazed when you load up into the sim and you have 60 frames solid. Just stuff like that we've had to do in P3D before and all that good stuff.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like we got lots of good things on the horizon coming forward for both sims, hopefully.
Oh yeah, I still love X-Plane. Still got to put it back into X-Plane, especially with it being so close to, finished. But I love MSFS as well.
Yeah, no, I mean, X-Plane, as much as it frustrates me sometimes, X-Plane still has a place in my heart. It's where I started with streaming and online content. I mean, I started in Microsoft 98 way back when, but when I started with just a laptop and a mouse to fly, didn't have no joysticks. I don't think I got any joysticks like that until FSX came along, to be honest.
Neither did I. I was on a borked laptop, man, in FS98 using the arrow keys.
Mm-hmm.
I love flying,
Yeah, using the arrow keys while attempting to fly.
While attempting to fly. I mean,
attempting to fly for me.
That's a better way of wording it.
It was the hold my beer before hold my beer was invented.
Exactly.
I loved it.
Yes. FSX was really the game changer for me that really got me more involved with everything that I was able to do with that and getting a joystick.
Absolutely. FSX was a good time, and it was sad when we heard nothing else was coming after that, but Microsoft
always have
the flight. Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what was it called? Flight, and everyone was like super excited that it came out and was like, what in the heck is this?
Yeah, and everybody was so skeptical before release about, with that track that they took, because they were acclimating to the whole, what's the terminology for it? I don't game as much anymore, but when you get into a game and the first thing you see is a freaking in-game store, right? The microtransactions. Everybody was worried about, it's going to be like that. It's going to be like that. I said, well, look, if you look at Microsoft, they're a company, but they wouldn't put the Microsoft Flight Simulator brand on something and change it drastically like that. It's not going to happen,
Mm-hmm.
And luckily that was the case. It's definitely it's a fantastic platform, and I don't think it's going anywhere anytime soon.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, there's the new Microsoft. It'll be around for a long time. I mean, even like when it very first launched, that was the big thing. Everyone's like, this simulator is going to die. It's going to be dead because there's no add-ons or whatever. And it's not realistic enough or whatever phrases that they were using. And it's like, well, was any sim when it launched? Like,
yeah, exactly. It's
give it time.
They've got fantastic dynamics, right? But my biggest gripe, I guess you could say, more so, maybe not so much the case anymore, but more so.
You're really quiet. Last thing we heard was biggest gripe, and then you kind of tailored off there.
Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Oh, yep.
Okay, sorry about that. I've got a crappy mic. So, biggest gripe with X-Plane was, I love the aerodynamics. I love all of, I got my start there. I love flying X-Plane. My biggest thing is, they change. Used to be the case, not so much anymore. But you get one change that would benefit, one aspect of aviation, and then it destroys 20 others. I mean, through the entirety of X-Plane, I don't think I was able to land a amphibian aircraft on water without it feeling like I was landing in a pool of Jello. Stuff like that. It's a lot better now, but yeah, that just kind of ruins it for me. I still love it. I love Microsoft just the same too. It's the same polished engine, right? ESP. But my whole thing with flight sim that I use it for is I love to fly the big boys. I love to fly my GAs and bush planes too. But I can fly in the real world. I fly my little, when I was flying Piper 140. I want to do what I can't do in the real world.
True.
And the biggest argument, flight dynamics. Well, look, when you're at 35,000 feet in a Boeing 747, are you really going to notice every little bit of difference? No. It's the experience that I want.
Mm-hmm.
Just like home cockpit. Yep. I prefer a home cockpit over a VR any day. I'm happy with my track IR.
Yeah, no, makes sense. That's I think why I fly commercial airlines, because I want to do what I can't do in real life. I think that's a lot of reason why people use simulators in the first place that are not real pilots. I mean, they want to
Absolutely.
experience what they have no chance at experiencing.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, nope. Sounds like we got good stuff coming. We really appreciate you talking with us and coming on our podcast. And hopefully you'll have us again and come back. When we have some more updates and
absolutely
we got new stuff coming out, and we'll be more than happy to have you aboard again on the podcast. And
definitely. I want to get a real good kickstart on downtown over here. 'Cause need some love to the helicopters, man. But
Agreed.
I,
my guilty pleasure in FSX was flying around in the Black Hawk and whatnot, and just pretending like I was the Coast Guard or something.
oh, it's good fun. It's good fun. My most flown aircraft in P3D is this. Oh gosh, hello. Is the SimWorks Studios Phantom. That was actually my first interior texture job. If you haven't seen it, I'm very proud of that thing. I love flying jets. I love jets. So I like DCS. I'd like to get back into that. And hey, found some people to fly with. It's great.
Yeah, there you go. Always welcome to come fly with us on DCS. I'm still learning DCS.
Absolutely. Now that the Apache's out and all that good stuff,
You might end up in a ball of flames a few times with Mavs flying. Cough, 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 cough.
I don't know what you're talking about. I did not.
A few ejections last night, but not intentional. Not intentional. But
May have clipped a couple wings or so last night.
Yeah,
that's all right. That's all right. Did you ask for permission to buzz the tower?
Maverick doesn't ask for permission. He just does it.
You're right.
Technically, he does.
Well, I guess technically he does. He just doesn't care what they say. But
yeah, they say no, and he's like YOLO.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, nope, it's been fun. Look forward to it. And if you guys have not, make sure you guys check out his San Antonio scenery from Microsoft. Very, very good scenery for San Antonio. Definitely not anything close, in my opinion, out there for San Antonio. And
I appreciate that.
Appreciate you coming aboard. And Natalie, anything else you want to add there?
No, just like, comment, subscribe, all that, all the classic. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Go ahead and like, comment, smash that. We're looking for 30 likes. That classic shenanigans.
Yeah, we will eventually be probably starting an actual channel for the podcast on its own. Coming forward in the future. So it'll be on that channel, but that will all be announced and everything once that's all set forth. And we'll be announcing when the next episode will be. Possibly next Sunday or the Sunday after. But that'll all get worked out. And again, a huge shout out to Mr. Wicked Bacon. For coming along. And
I appreciate y'all. Thanks. Thank you for everything.
All right. Thanks for having us, guys. We will see you guys on the next episode. Simply Mad Simmers here. Hopefully you guys enjoy.